Is Elon pushing Bitcoin once again? Are we going to see another all-time high during this year? And what do large macro investors think of the current price range? All of that, plus some news on Kusama with their Parachain auctions starting this week. We're going to dive into that as well in today's video. If you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel and let's jump in. So the crypto fear and greed index is currently showing a 28 on the Richter scale. Last week we went as low as 15. Remember, Wednesday was not a good day. We went down to around 31k for BTC. And then we've been working our way back up. We were at 23 yesterday, Bloody Sunday as people like to call it, and then 28 today. And I think this goes to show that we've moved from a range low when we were down to the 15s of last week, and now we're towards the range high for Bitcoin right now, and people are feeling a little bit more optimistic. But we have just been ranging in this area for a while now, so it doesn't mean we're necessarily going to break out from the current price formation. However, there are bullish catalysts everywhere you look. So Cointelegraph put out an article that was kind of having a crack at Elon Musk, saying that the SEC would be after him for the price manipulation that's been going on. They actually cited what we have seen with Bitcoin is price manipulation by one very powerful and influential individual. So really pointing the finger at Elon and suggesting that maybe he's been dumping the price as well as giving the negative FUD tweets additionally. But he seems to respond suggesting that they haven't been selling. So he fired back with, "This is inaccurate. Tesla only sold roughly 10% of its holdings to confirm BTC could be liquidated easily without moving the market." So that was the only trade that they performed. He then goes on to say that when there's confirmation of reasonable circa 50% clean energy usage by miners with positive future trend, Tesla will resume allowing Bitcoin transactions once more. And that kind of positive sentiment for Bitcoin has seen the price go up. Now, of course, Bitcoin's main utility is not for the purchase of Teslas, but this kind of positive sentiment from someone who has been FUDding BTC recently and clearly has a lot of sway in this market is a good thing for the market health right now. And we could be seeing more clean energy from Bitcoin miners as they start to move out of China. However, many industry leaders have pointed out that Bitcoin is more than 50% clean energy reliant at this point. Chainlink God posted in response that the hash rate is roughly 39% renewable energy, where 76% of miners use renewable energy as part of their mix. Peter McCormack mentioned that Bitcoin is already 70% plus in clean energy. Lark Davis responded that he thinks it already is up there. Give Michael Saylor a call. And then Dan Held cited another Cointelegraph article suggesting that Bitcoin is over 74% powered by clean energy already. So this unfolded roughly 16 hours ago from now. Musk tweeted during this candle body around here, around the 36k level, and then we started to push upwards. So you can see that the positive news story is having an impact on the market. So we want to see positive news story have positive impacts and negative news stories have lesser impacts. And that's definitely a shift that's been happening over the last few days. But additionally, we're seeing here positive sentiment from an influential character within the crypto space now, Elon Musk, seemingly able to push the price of Bitcoin up towards the range high up here. Now, whilst we don't want the market to be controlled by someone like this, and I think this is kind of scary in many ways, because if he does throw his teddies out of the pram again, we could see Bitcoin price just fall off the back of a tweet. But I would suggest he's trying to set things up in a fashion that makes him come out looking golden. He's met with miners in North America to look at clean mining initiatives. And so he's clearly pushing forward the renewable energy narrative. So I think that if we can see Bitcoin increase its amount of renewable energy reliance, Musk then will allow Bitcoin transactions for Teslas once again, and potentially we'll see Tesla add even more Bitcoin to their balance sheet. I think we're going to see him play this kind of good cop, bad cop role and try to come out of this as the Bitcoin savior. Maybe a little bit egotistic, but I'm sure many of us just want the price to now resume going up again. So we are towards the range high right now, moving towards resistance at around 40k. We have kind of broken out of a downward wedge formation that was occurring but I'm trying to focus more on what's happened over the last month. We've got this resistance up here, we've got the support down here, and during these periods when we come and test the lows, we've seen a lot of bearish sentiment, especially on Twitter, and then when we've moved towards the resistance up here, we've seen a lot of positive sentiment. And I just feel like it's a matter of time before we can break out and push towards the mid 40s and claim this area as support before we move higher once again. So the speed in which we see more renewable energy going into Bitcoin mining could be a very quick turnaround here. So the fourth largest Bitcoin producing province joins the country's move against crypto mining. So this is Yunnan province, which ranks fourth in the Chinese Bitcoin hash rate. And they've promised to shut down any company violating their rules by the end of June. So they've only got 2 weeks to act and act quickly. And having watched the Up Only podcast with Kyle Davis from 3 Arrows Capital, who's been speaking with Chinese miners, they are actively looking for new territories with clean energy to go and move into. And these guys, of course, have millions of dollars or even billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. They're very rich individuals, and so they could set up relatively quickly. I don't expect this to be over the course of the next 2 weeks, but if they're moving out, they're going to be setting up as quickly as possible, as they don't want to forego any BTC profits. So this renewable narrative is definitely picking up pace. We've seen the lows, we've seen all the FUD around it, but now we're seeing the resolution side with big moves from the Chinese government to move out miners who are using coal energy and really push the green narrative forwards. So this is going to be one of the major hurdles for this cycle, and it looks like we're starting to overcome it. So this is a very positive thing. Then we also have the Microstrategy, Michael Saylor, GigaChad, $500 million in private offering of secured notes. So they're going to be pretty much buying up $500 million worth of Bitcoin, and the offering is expected to close on June the 14th, 2021, which is today. So there will be some big buys for Bitcoin during today. I think these will go on OTC desks. We're not going to see someone just go onto Binance Exchange and just buy up $500 million worth of Bitcoin and send the price north very quickly. But big buy orders like this, even on OTC desks, will move the spot price in maybe a delayed fashion. But all of this, good stuff in my book. Then we have a respected macro investor, Dan Tapiero, suggesting that Bitcoin has never topped with volatility this low. I think from this, they're suggesting that the huge parabolic move that typically ends every bull cycle has not occurred, and this would be one of the things that they're looking out for to confirm a top. He then suggests there's massive upside still ahead here, and the Twitter short-termers are now too negative, potentially suggesting that the bottom is in. So this is how a macro guy is kind of looking at the market right now, and it's some good food for thought, because this is someone who will be looking zoomed out, that 1,000-foot bird's eye view, and analyzing the market on longer time horizons than maybe some of the micro time horizons that we look at on a day-to-day basis when you're down in the trenches and continually looking for new news, looking through Twitter feeds and stuff. You need to continually zoom out and see the bigger picture. There's been a big correction, but we will continue to move onwards and upwards. And a final piece of BTC hopium here for you. So this is a bit of Rect Capital's analysis on the market. So the Bitcoin halvings, these blue lines down here, occur in the year prior to a new candle 1. So the blue line here runs through the year number 4, and then we have the year number 1 after this. And the year number 1 is historically a year of explosive growth and extreme upside. This is when Bitcoin makes its biggest moves up. And if you look at the year number 1 here, sat around 32K. So this was a bit of an old chart that he printed up here, but it wouldn't have made much difference. The number 1 candle is tiny right now, and this should be the biggest candle of the 4 for the cycle. This is what history shows us, so the likelihood of this playing out is very high once more. So of course we all know about the stock to flow ratio, and we believe that Bitcoin will find an equilibrium price around 100K, but probably overshoot it. This certainly is not off the cards. And if anything, having a mid-market correction and a cool-off period followed by a long accumulation phase sets things up for further exponential upside down the line. So personally, when I factor all these things in together, I'm just zooming out, looking at the bigger picture, and seeing that there is a lot more to come from this market. So don't be too bearish. Don't spend too long on Twitter. Find yourself different informational sources, and from there you can put together an informed opinion. Now, I also want to mention the Kusama Parachains. These begin in 2 days' time on the 15th of June. And things are really heating up with this. Kusama is pushing high again. I think it's hit its all-time high in terms of its BTC comparative over the last 7 days, which is very exciting. And we're going to see a lot of KSM tokens locked in these bonded Parachain slots. So here's the timetable. Auction number 1 starts on the 15th of June. You can see the full schedule down here. And these auctions are going to take place each and every week now on a weekly basis for the first 5 auctions. And then they will move to a bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks, there'll be a new auction after this. So auction 1 starts June 15th and bidding ends on June the 22nd. The slot is then started from that date. So the bidding will be ended, we'll get the winner. Their slot then will begin on June 22nd and last until May 13th of 2022. So almost a 1-year slot. And in terms of participating with these, of course, you can download the Polkadot JS wallet and interact directly through the participating project websites. However, if you're not particularly keen to learn about using Polkadot JS, it's not all that difficult. It's maybe not as user-friendly as MetaMask, and maybe you want a simpler solution. Well, on Kraken, if you log into Kraken, sign up down below, I'll leave a link for it. Go to the Earn tab and then Parachains. All the auctions are now up on here. So we have our first 5 participants: Karura, Kala, Shiden, Crust, Shadow, and Moon River. And you can contribute your KSM tokens on here. For me personally, I'm just looking at this with an eye on the future. For the Polkadot Parachains, I'm not a Kusama holder, as I preferred to have a more concentrated bet in Polkadot. However, you can see how things are shaping up here, and you can see the rewards they're going to give for the Kusama that you actually participate with or you loan to them in these crowd loans. So if, for example, you want to go with Karura here, per 1 KSM token that you give to them, they will give you roughly 13.2 Karura in return. So this is the payback you get for loaning your Kusama. However, they are locked for 336 days. Within this article up here, they've also got a nice little infographic showing you exactly how it works. So essentially step 1, getting your KSM onto the Kraken website. Once you've got your KSM, you can then contribute on that earn page. Go to the Parachain icon, click on that, and then you can bond your tokens to the project that you like the best and you think has the best maybe upside, or is the project that you just believe in the most. And then if that project wins the auction and they are successful in that and they get the Parachain slot, what will happen is your KSM will be bonded for that entire period. So you can no longer get access to those KSM, but in return, per 1 KSM token, you would get 13.2 Karura added to your balance on Kraken. So 13.2 for every KSM that you contribute. So you contribute 10, you're going to get 132 Karura tokens. But say you back a project that is unsuccessful with the auction, well then your KSM will just be returned back to you into your Kraken account. And then for any successful Parachain slots at the end of the bonding period, so that 336-day period ends, you will then get all your KSM tokens back. So this is all about opportunity cost. If you're locking up your KSM, you're unable to get staking rewards. And of course, you're committing yourself to pretty much 1 year of not being able to sell those tokens. And then on the flip side, you're making a bet that you're going to get Karura tokens that are going to be more valuable potentially than the KSM opportunity cost of not staking. And we can see from the contribution limits here, most of them are going for a limit of 1 million KSM, but for Karura, they've pushed their limit up to 1.5 million. So clearly they think that they want to try and win this outright by having the biggest bid out of all these first slot auctions. Now, will these auctions all be such high numbers? Because 1 million KSM is huge. That's 10% of the total supply. Kusama's maximum supply, 10 million tokens, currently circulating just 8.9 million. So bonding 1 million of these to one Parachain is crazy. And I can only imagine what this does for price due to the tokenomics behind this. Locking 1 million up for a whole year should really send the price rather high. And then we're going to have auction 2 in a week's time. What happens if another 1 million tokens are then locked up? This is going to really suck up so much supply off exchanges that there's going to be a shortage. There's no two ways about it. However, I would also add that this first auction slot will carry with it some form of cachet. People will be like, okay, these guys have got the first Parachain that is kind of special. Maybe the second, third, fourth parachains won't have such high contribution limits and won't get as much KSM bonded to them, as maybe it will lose a little bit of that shine. And also, surely at some point, the amount of contributors is going to start to dwindle, as most people are probably going to get in early with their favored projects. However, just looking at those basic tokenomics, 10 million max supply, potentially a million getting bonded to one of these guys for the first auction, is going to cause a definite supply shortage. So let's have a little look at the Kusama chart. It is down over the last 30 days. Let's bring this out to the 6-month area, overlay BTC as well. And this goes to show that even in down times and a bit of a pullback, a bit of a correction in the market, due to the demand for the KSM tokens for these parachains, the price of Kusama has done very well and really rebounded. It doesn't even look like it's been affected that much at all by the correction in the market. And if we pull out to the 30-day timeline here, you can see the BTC max price previously was around 1.38 million Satoshis, and then we broke 1.4 million Satoshis last Thursday. So posting an all-time high when most coins are down in BTC quite considerably is definitely bullish for the future. And this also makes me super bullish on Polkadot Parachains, which are coming in Q3. So this really could be a hot Polkadot Kusama summer. And once people start to maybe make some money on their KSM tokens, I'm sure everyone will not be bonding their KSM, but likely trying to profit off the price appreciation. Maybe they're going to start rolling some of those profits into Polkadot, which is 50% down from its all-time high roughly 1 month ago, and will have similar tokenomics for their parachains. But DOT has over 1 billion tokens in maximum supply, roughly just over 1 billion currently circulating. And so those numbers are going to be bigger. Maybe it's going to be 10 million Polkadots bonded to a parachain, maybe even 50 million, who knows? It's going to be very exciting to see that, but we're going to see a supply shortage for sure for Polkadot as well. So I think in terms of the big caps right now, with what's coming up for Polkadot and what we're seeing on Kusama, and this is going to be replicated over on the Polkadot ecosystem, the price does seem rather low, and this is one that I'm very keen to continue adding to in anticipation for a very big move coming. I'm sure once we see Polkadot Parachains launched and live, the all-time high is going to be obliterated. So Bitcoin, Polkadot, KSM, all looking bullish for me right now. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Are you starting to flip from that bear mode into a bull mode again? Or are you cautiously optimistic right now? I'd love to hear from you guys. So comment below and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.